Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about functions and their graphs. So what is a function? Here we consider the two variable x and y is always a function of x, which means y is depends on x. X is an independent variable, y is a dependent variable. So simply we can explain the function. See, for example, if you consider x as a children in their family, uh, y is the children in the family, x are parents. So y is always depends x. I mean the children y always depends their parents x. Okay, a function from a set D. Here D means domain, and here the domain represent input, the values of x, to a set y. So y we called range, output, is a rule that assigns a unique element. So there is a unique element f of x in the set y. So for each element x in the set D. So the symbol f represents the function, and the x already I explained, the independent variable, or we can say input value of f, and y is a dependent variable, always depends on x, the output value of x with function. So this is given in a graphical representation. So this is the set. So we call this is domain, and this is range. So for each and every element, we have a unique element in the set y. So this is y and this is x. Okay, with the function, we have a lot of function: trigonometric function, exponential function, logarithmic function, quadratic function, linear function. So there are a lot of function we have. So f may be anything, any function. So first question, find the domain and the range of the function. So if you have a quadratic function, x squared, or even function, we can say if you have any even function, so the domain is always negative infinity to positive infinity, because we can take any value for x, there is no restriction for x. So we can assume positive value, negative value, 0, anything for x. And the range will be only positive. Why positive? Because say x having power 2. If I'm assuming the negative values, if for example -1, for x equal to -1, x equal to -1, then what about y? Y equal to -1, the whole square will become 1, positive. So always the range will be 0 to infinity. So whenever you have an even function, remember for even function, we will discuss the even function later. So for all the even function, the domain must be negative infinity to positive infinity, and the range must be 0 to infinity. And the next one, the function x is on the denominator. So there is a condition for denominator. Whatever you have on the denominator, that is not equal to 0. So I do not take x as 0. So how the domain will be minus infinity to 0 union 0 to infinity. So which means I can take any value for x except 0. And the range must be the same, because I do not consider 0, so I will not obtain the 0 in the answer. And same like if you have 1 over x minus 3, for example, if you have x minus 3. So in this case, the denominator not equal to 0, right? The denominator not equal to 0. And you have to take negative 3 on the other side. So this will be x is not equal to positive 3. So I do not take x is 3 for this case. So for this case, what is the domain? Minus infinity, comma 3 not included. So that open bracket union 3 comma positive infinity. The range also, the range must be the same. Range must be the same. We cannot obtain 0. So for this case also the range same. for this one, range is also the same, negative infinity to 0 union 0 to infinity. Next we have square root. If you have a function with root, so the condition is x must be greater than or equal to 0. X must be greater than or equal to 0. So domain is 0 to infinity. And the range also the same, 0 to infinity. But this case, second one, 4 minus x greater than or equal to 0. Hence, 4 is greater than or equal to x. So x must be infinity to 4. 4 we can consider. But the range is 0 to infinity, because if whenever you have square root, so the range must be positive value, 0 to infinity. But if you have square term in the root, so 1 minus x squared greater than or equal to 0, the condition is the same, but we have 1 is greater than or equal to x square. So this gives you, when you take the root on both sides, so 1 is greater than or equal to plus or minus x, right? Plus or minus 1. So for this case, x lies between minus 1 to plus 1. And the range must be the positive in that interval. What is a positive value? 0 to 1. So that's it. Next one, f of x is given. We have to find f of the number. So this is very simple. So what is given? F of x, 6x squared minus 7x plus 12. You need to replace in the place of x by 5. So first, what f of 5 is? 6 times 5 squared minus 7 5 plus 12. And simplify. 5 squared will be 25 and 7 times 5 will be negative 35. And 6 times 25 gives 150 minus 35 plus 12 will be 127. And similar way we have to do the negative 4. Negative 4 you can replace x by negative 4. Same like minus 4 squared will become positive 16 and minus minus will be plus 28 and plus 12. So the answer is 136. And the next one, b. If you have b in the place of x, just replace b. So the function in terms of b, 6b squared minus 7b plus 12. That's it. Next, the vertical line test. This is checking for graphically. Actually, it is used for graphical test. If you have a graph, so we can be able to check the graph is whether the function of x or not. So when you draw, say for example, this is a unit circle. This circle is not a function of x, because when you draw the vertical line through the graph, the line touches 2 points. So it is not a function of x. So when it is a function of x, the line touches only 1 point, then we can say it's a function of x. See, for example, we have 4 graphs. So you have to draw the vertical line through the graph. Just you can draw vertical line through the graph. And how many points are touching? Here 2 points. So the graph A is not a function of x. And here B just touch only 1 point. So this is a function of x. So only graph B is a function of x. And here we have 3 points touches. So it is not a function of x. And here 2 points. So it's not a function of x.